Okay, welcome you guys to the second tribal council. Unfortunately, you were here last time and you're here again this time.
Wait, he can't hear us.
I don't know if he can hear.
Who?
He said he couldn't. Cody said he couldn't hear us. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please. I'm glad you did.
It just sounded like it was going to be such a great.
I was on a roll, god damn it.
Cody?
You got lightheaded? Oh, sorry.
Molly, do you have no patience for this?
She's like, I'm over it.
Molly's like, why are we not?
We're disappearing one at a time.
Wow.
You guys, our new neighbor dropped off a bag full of popcorn that he made. It's Bloody Mary mixed popcorn.
Oh,
It's
nice.
so good. And he also dropped off a bottle of Bloody Mary mix that he made himself and a whole bottle of vodka and a whole big beer.
Wow.
Oh, and he's Jewish. My girlfriend thinks it's important to mention that.
Well, that's a wonderful housewarming
Yeah,
gift.
that's
Great.
so
Hey.
So nice.
So cool.
You know who he's giving
Or
it to.
he's a vampire.
Well, check him out. Just gonna plug Crafted by Cletus. That's the label.
Sponsored by, crafted by Cletus.
Let's go.
Nice try.
out.
Sponsored by Cletus.
Yes,
Titus. Oh, that's great.
that is great. That's very catchy.
I'll let you know how it goes.
That's
The popcorn was delicious. Kelsey, our neighbor, dropped off like a bunch of stuff for us, and he made this Bloody Mary mix and Bloody Mary mix popcorn. I'll let you know how it is.
That sounds delicious. I just want to make sure, Cody, can you hear us?
Yeah, so sorry, I have no idea what happened.
Okay, no worries. As long as you can hear us, then we're good to go. We're going to get started. Take two. Hi, everyone. Welcome to, wait, Ronnie, what is your issue? Hold on. Ben's grandmother-in-law is having audio issues, and I want to make sure she can hear.
Yeah, this is important to hear.
Ronnie has been a loyal follower from the beginning, so she's very important to us.
That's so sweet.
She loves it. She does.
Let's see.
Oh, and by the way,
come back.
Tribe,
Okay.
she told us we were all idiots for yesterday. Every one of us.
I know.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Okay.
Thanks, Ronnie.
We're gonna get
I was
started.
the morale.
Back, Ronnie.
We're going to get started, same as last time. Welcome to the second tribal council. I'm going to ask some questions to each of you guys. We'll talk through it, and then it will be time to vote. So to begin with, I'm going to ask Cody, and I'm going to ask this in the nicest way possible. What was the strategy behind your team and choosing to nominate people, or how they were challenging the betting? Did you guys talk about it at all, or was it just kind of like, let's take each category as it comes?
Yeah, I think we went really thorough and deep into what everybody's really good at and spent like a couple hours working on it. So, surprising that we did not do as well as we had hoped. No, I want to say we had 3 seconds where everybody's like, well, who wants to try? And we're like, I guess I'll give it a go.
Sure.
And jumped into it with one challenge's worth of information previously to work on. That's pretty much all we had.
So that's interesting to me. And Adam, I want to ask you about that. Has your tribe spent time talking about, as part of the getting to know you, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses? I mean, it can be scary to share that because then people might perceive you as a threat or a weakness, but also it does have that benefit. It will benefit you to be able to work better together as a tribe.
For sure. I'd say that's a big part of the getting to know you conversation, or at least like the really early on, just kind of like acclimating to Survivor, and just sort of what to expect and just previous experience and what previous challenges were. And, just because we had that the first immunity little mini challenge that first time out. I think that definitely got everyone thinking like, well, am I going to have to run into other rooms? Are I going to have other things? And kind of, like the props and all that. So it's been a lot of that explaining, but also then wondering like, okay, we're still a big tribe. Is it going to be another relay? And what could it be? And who's feeling good with slide puzzles? The eternal question. So yeah, it's been a really big ongoing conversation.
And something that I found really interesting that I think I got from all of you guys last week is that you all genuinely really like each other and you all think each other is nice and great people. Brian, do you think that kind of hurt you guys because no one wants to step on anyone's toes and be like, I'm going to decide the roles, like you do this, you do that, and just everyone wants to like group decide things together?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we certainly all seem to like each other, so that you're absolutely right about that. But I think that people just, as Cody was saying earlier, we felt like we had very small amount of time or limited amount of time to make that decision yesterday. And, people stepped up. I mean, it was never a time where somebody said, no. I mean, everybody was ready to get in there right away.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kat, I want to ask, I mean, it was unfortunately a clean sweep, right? Like there was no like back and forth. And so, well, I say that because I think it becomes more challenging when it comes time to then vote who to point the finger at, because everyone was to a degree culpable for that. Was that something that was factored in, or was it just like, I think this person did the worst at it? Or was it just like, hey, we all sucked, it's an even playing field?
I mean, I did think for a second, like, is everyone going to vote me off because I couldn't remember Meryl Streep's monologue? But then I feel like you have to realize that's insane. And I think we all tried our best. You can't fault people for trying their best. And like Brian said, everyone was ready to jump in and like support the team. And we all really work well as a team. So tonight's vote it's really a difficult one because it doesn't feel like there's very much to base it off of. And 2 losses. I mean, everyone's just kind of like, we got to get through this because it's just kind of a rough time and we all like each other so much.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. And Whitney, I'll ask you, I mean, if you lose 2 back-to-back, does the focus become more on, we need to make the tribe a strong team so that we can win these dang challenges? Or is it still like, this person's a threat, I'd rather get them out now so that further down the line, I don't have to deal with it?
No, I think it's the first thing that all of us who sit at home watching Survivor scream at our TVs, which is, why would you not keep a strong tribe into the merge? We sit there and we're like, what? You get in the moment and maybe you have those inklings of concern and whatever, but ultimately, if you want to live in this game, you've got to stay strong with your tribe. And so I think that's what's going to happen tonight for sure.
And so I'm curious, Ben, do you feel any sort of, you were one of the people, you didn't compete yesterday, right? I'm not making that up.
No, that is correct.
Okay. Do you feel any sort of like regret that you didn't say something? Because I know that one of the challenges of having played this season before is you definitely do want to come back and be like, I'm not this bulldozer, I'm not like an asshole or anything like that. But then you're not, was it working against you, I guess is my question.
Well, it's a tricky dance because it wasn't like I sat there and never said I wouldn't do anything. Yeah. There were at least 2, maybe 3 of them that I said I'd feel comfortable doing it. And our brilliant strategy that Cody was outlining at the beginning was, let's sideline Ben and save him as a secret weapon for later. So, we were waiting for me to break that tie when it was 4. But, I mean, it's one of those things where early on, if you're going to make good connections with your tribe mates, you have to trust them. That doesn't just mean in your conversations in Slack or in strategy, but also when someone says, hey, I think I want to do this challenge, trust them there, right? Because that's part of the foundation building. So I was going in saying, Michelle, you feel good about physical? Go for it. And who knows? We're still all figuring out what physical means or what, trivia means. So I was on the side of, I'm happy to participate. I want to trust my team. And, unfortunately, it didn't work out for any of us.
Sure. So something kind of new that we're trying out with Survivor Quarantine is we are opening up Tribal for, I asked if any audience people had questions that they wanted me to ask at Tribal, just for a little more interaction. And the number one question I got, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Mary, but people want to know why, as a comedian / actor / writer, you didn't do the memory one and you wound up doing the math one.
Question. I will say, once I saw that speech, I also had just watched Devil Wears Prada, so I was like, oh no. As soon as we found out it was a memorization one, I was like, oh yeah, I could probably do that, but I didn't say that. Kat and Cody were like, we're good at it, and I fully, like Ben was saying, like I really trust my tribe mates to, like, you know, what they said they felt like they could do. I just felt like adding a third voice in would make it more chaotic, so I didn't volunteer when I probably should have. And the math one, I was for sure feeling like it was getting towards the end, and I hadn't done any of them or had volunteered once but deferred to somebody else. And so with math, I feel like universally, except for I think Ben volunteered too, but we were all like, bad at math. And I'm probably didn't know what to expect. I forgot in the heat of the moment what it means to square something, and I was so scared that she was going to challenge me that I challenged her on a very low number, and I shouldn't have done that. But there's also, I will say this, there's also, like, yes, it's about what are your strengths, but it's also within the context of this betting game that has its own strategy to it.
Definitely.
So to be able to come in and be like, you do this, you do this, you do this, is great. But if you don't also understand the mechanics of that specific type of challenge, then even if you're great at something, you could still end up losing.
One thing, sorry, that Mary, I've been thinking about all day is that certain challenges, when you are starting to be down on it, desperation helps you catch up. And this was a challenge where desperation is terrible.
It was the worst.
And so
the worst feeling.
I totally understand. It's like, oh my God, we haven't asked them to do anything. Maybe we should. And then it's too low. So like, this was a bad challenge to start down, but what can you do? I totally know where you're coming from.
I'd like to
She like actually pushed us to the side because we were, go ahead, Whit, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, for the record, I cannot do as many push-ups as Michelle. I can't do one proper push-up. I can do
Oh my God, you're so nice.
but that was badass, dude.
You did great, Michelle.
So
You guys are so nice. See, everyone's so nice.
but Ben, I do want to ask, I mean, something that we keep talking about is you guys started off poorly, right? Was there ever at any point where it was like, hey guys, we're failing because XYZ, which is how you do this game, let's try this strategy differently? Or was there still just like, let's just take each category as it comes and see what happens? Or was there like, okay, we need to like readjust?
I'm sorry.
Go on.
No, I was going to say, Kelsey, you're talking as if there was like an hour between activities.
Right.
We had 12 seconds, and there was certainly no discussion between the activities of strategy.
I understand. I believe, or the reason why I'm asking is I know that the audience was curious, and it also appeared as though the other tribe had factored these things in, whether they did it beforehand the game where they kind of just knew like this is how we'll do things, or
during, which is what they did get called out on when they had to lose.
Right.
So Michelle,
Which we count that as a Quaratonga point. Just gonna say, we didn't get swept. That was a Quaratonga point.
Michelle, people also wanted to ask kind of like, what was the thinking when you were doing the push-up challenge? Were you just like, did you go into it being like, I know I can do X many, so if we get to that point, great. And then if not, I will challenge him.
Yeah, I feel like I will acknowledge that I should have challenged him a lot sooner, but I feel like with push-ups, you never know who can secretly do 100 push-ups, and I took the bet that Ezra probably could have done 100 push-ups, but I probably should have challenged him earlier. It was a poor judgment call, but yeah, I was going in. I I truly just didn't anticipate us challenging that soon, and it worked out to their favor. That strategy worked out.
Sure. And so, and while I'm talking to you, Michelle, like something that I think keeps being thrown around is you all like each other, you're all nice, and also you all kind of like didn't do well in the challenge together. So you come back, you've already experienced a tribal council once before. Is this one feel very different going into it this time?
Yeah, you know, the saying "nice guys finish last," that seems to be the case here. I feel like even though we did lose last night, there were some things that we learned about each other and the other team. So I won't take it as a whole lose.
And what do you feel that you learned about the other tribe? You can be vague if you don't want to be specific.
There's some smug ass.
You know what? I'll say I learned some personalities.
That's more diplomatic, Michelle.
Yeah, that can be just as helpful or detrimental before a merge. Adam, you have something you want to say?
I think exactly to that point, I think the great thing, I mean, not the great thing, but like the silver lining of having to go to tribal back to back and play this part of the game, this side of the game, is that now us as a tribe, we have like defined ourselves as players a little bit more. We've defined, you know, voting blocks and just kind of gameplay style and everything. But also compared to the other tribe, they haven't had to test any of that, any loyalties or really dip their toe in anything. So on that tribe, they still only have Dylan as their like fountain of knowledge and experience and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I'm proud of us as a tribe that we've shown that we can figure that out and kind of like rise to it and everything. But yeah, so now everyone is kind of just as veteran, this is me.
Yeah. But that brings up a really good point, because something that I think tribal council does force you to do is figure out if people who you think you trust, you can actually trust, right? Because you have the proof, right? Like, we're going to this vote. I'm going to find out, is your word exactly what you say? So Brian, oh, good. Your video's not, it looked frozen for a second.
How did I know you were coming to me?
Well, no, because I want to ask, I think that something that we discovered last time is there were people that were left out of a vote. You know, there was a blind side. So I'm wondering, how did you go back from that tribal and then try to recoup, and then now you're back here again?
Well, you know what? We're all adults, and we realize this is a game, and I was one of the people blindsided that night, even though I wasn't kicked off. So I sort of was had to sit up and take notice and remind myself that it's a game, that it's certainly not personal, because obviously we all love each other. And that's important. It really is important, because if you sort of let your anger get the best of you, and you
What happens if you let the anger get the best of you?
You said you can't let the anger get the best of you. Keep going.
No, if you let the anger get the best of you, then nobody wins, and
Sure.
that's it's just not the way you want to play the game.
And hate leads to the dark side.
Okay, so you guys, thank you all for this conversation. It is now time to vote. And I'm going to call out your name, and then once your name is called, you're going to Slack me directly who you would like to vote for. Whitney, do you have something?
Kelsey, really quick, I just, some people here know this, not everybody does. I am taking myself out of the game. I've asked a few people to vote for me. It's probably not enough. So everybody else, you just can go ahead and feel free to vote for me. But it was really clear in my profile leading into this that I don't have a job. I was laid off. I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm realizing now, when I would read those stories about like moms getting back into the workforce and how hard it is after they have a kid. I don't even have a kid, and it's fucking impossible. So I'm stressing out, and I'm losing it, and I can't give my all to this game, and I can't give my all to this tribe, and it's not fair to them for me to stay here and not be able to participate to my fullest. And I've said since day one that people who want to play should play. I want to play, but I can't. So I gotta call it. And I think everyone here is brilliant. Kelsey, I think this is a genius thing that you've set up. I would kill to be in this. I said I wasn't gonna cry. I wish I could stay, but I can't. I gotta go, and I'm really sorry, you guys. I hope this makes it longer, and I think
It's okay.
I speak for everyone here and how much we loved having you and how fun you were to be here. And I know it was a little time now. I'm getting emotional, but I'm so appreciative that you joined this game.
I tried, and I'm real sorry. I hope that my slot wasn't like taken from somebody who could have stayed, but I'm in awe of everyone here, and you all have a place to stay when you come to Nashville if you don't already live here, Cody. Come see me, and let's be friends off the island, and I love you all, and go kick their ass. Seriously, that Ezra, whatever his name is. Ask for me, okay?
Whitney, just so you know, my texts are lighting up, and so many of my friends and family are saying she's such a great player.
Yeah.
And
well, I appreciate everybody.
The fans are sad.
On The Real Survivor, you can if you search Whittles on YouTube, you can see me try out for Survivor, the Australian.
Yes.
Well, Whitney, I'm gonna say instead of the tribe has spoken, you have spoken, and you're leaving Quarantine Island. But we love you, and we
Love you, Whit.
Thank you for everything, y'all.
Thank you, Whitney.
Good luck, Whit.
Take
Good luck.
care of each other, okay?
We'll win
Thank
for
you, Whitney.
All right.
Bye, Whitney. Everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow at the challenge. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good luck, Whit.